What year did he come to India?
He came 72, I think, because he was in my pool.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he was already.
He's talking on tape about it, actually.
Yeah, he was already in India. I went to America. I came from America to India. He was already here in India. Prabhupada wanted the British devotees because at that time the British devotees didn't need the visas, and Americans were having a hard time to get a visa. So Prabhupada was saying, send the men from London to India to help, you know, because Indian men were not joining. And we needed the Western devotees. So he said, send the men from London, you know, because they don't need the visa. So that's when Padmalochan came, and people like Smara Hari, Kunarnava, these kind of people, they were all there in Vrindavan. Padmalochan, he kind of got right into the Babaji scene, you know. He was going to all these holy places, and he was the very first devotee to write books about the holy places. About little pamphlets about the holy places, you know. Because he'd gone around and lived in all these places, you know. He'd been living with all these sadhus a little bit, and he had, you know, he'd learned about all these different holy places. He was very knowledgeable of all these different leelas and pastimes which had taken place around Vrindavan, and he'd gone to all the other holy places around India too, you know. He was really bold, you know. He didn't care about living in the temple. Yeah, he could, you know, he would just go somewhere and just, you know, find some way to survive, you know. He was that kind of person, you know. He was really independent. So he was living in Vrindavan for a while there, and then he came to Mayapur. No, he went back to England for a while. I remember one devotee in London was a devotee called Jai Garendu, who was from England. He's actually a disciple of B.R. Sridhar Maharaj. And he was telling me Padmalochan had lost his passport one time. And he you know, he couldn't remember, he didn't know anything about what kind of passport number he had, or couldn't even remember where his date of birth or anything, you know. And
at the embassy?
Yeah, right, you know, so they had a real hard time trying to get him, because he, you know, I think he was in Russia or something like this, and he had no passport, you know. So he had this guy in London had to go and do all the research and find out about, you know, what his date of birth was, get his details and everything, to get his passport. Get a passport first. He's so detached, you know, so completely detached from material things, you know. But at the same time, he was so absorbed in Krishna consciousness. We know when we go in the temple room in Mayapur every morning, he's always there, right?
Yeah.
Every morning, you know. I know he used to spend the whole night in there.
Who the heck is this guy?
Yeah, you know, the guy's
under his shutter.
Yeah, under his shutter.
Who's that masked man?
Yeah. And then you know, every day go to the Ganga, take his bath, you know, 2 or 3 times a day, you know. It didn't matter what the weather was like, you know. He's really, you know, really into the holy place, you know, and the mood there of living in the Dham, you know. He certainly took advantage of the holy places. He spent so many years living in Mayapur and Vrindavan. Wow. And he didn't waste his time, you know, as well, you know. He was always doing up there all night in there chanting, and then going to the Ganga and giving classes and everything, you know. He was really into it. So very nice example. And sadhana, really very special, very good. How it should be living in the holy place, you know. Very nice. And I always like to see it whenever these festivals like the Abhishek and that, he was always there.
I was
always
right
there.
to the right-hand corner.
Yeah.
There.
And he was so upset when they did the Panchatattva installation and he didn't get to bathe them. It broke his heart, you know.
Yeah, no, why didn't he participate?
Well, because they said they picked certain people.
Oh.
It was only like
He wanted that everyone would be able. They make a stage so everyone just pass and bathe them, all devotees. But they refused that program. They only choose few people and pujaris, and everybody else was just watching, like spectators. So he said, "I'm not a spectator. I want service," and he didn't go.
Yeah, at least let him stand there.
Yeah.
I remember when we brought the Panchatattva deities in, you know, when they came off the trucks, and then we got those barrows, you know, those wheelbarrow, the old wheelbarrow, you know, we're pushing it in, you know, he's there, you know, he was really into it, you know, he was so excited about having the Panchatattva come. It was so nice, you know, he was really in the mood.